It's a strange thing when your instincts know something before your brain lets you admit it. Looking back now, I think I saw it coming. Maybe not the exact details, but the vibe. That slow unraveling. The invisible wall that creeps up between two people who used to share everything. That Thursday evening was supposed to be ordinary. I had plans with my buddy Caleb, poker night at his place. Last minute, he texted and said his wife came down with something, so we were gonna push it to next week. No big deal. I figured I'd swing by Lauren's place instead. Surprise her with dinner. I'd been meaning to do something nice anyway. Things had felt off lately, and I didn't want to be the guy who just let that slide. So I stopped at her favorite Thai spot and grabbed her usual pad Thai with tofu, extra lime on the side, and for myself, massaman curry. I even remembered the jasmine tea she likes cold. Dumb little detail, but it felt important at the time. As I pulled into her driveway, something felt weird, not dramatic, just off. The house was mostly dark, except for a warm glow in the upstairs bedroom. Her car was there. No music playing. No TV noise leaking out like usual. Just stillness. I knocked, but she didn't answer right away. I was halfway pulling out my phone to text her when she came down the stairs. The way she moved, fast but cautious, like she hadn't expected me to be there. She was wearing a forest green wrap dress I'd never seen before. Tight in all the right places with gold hoops and heels. Makeup done like she was heading somewhere fancy. She looked incredible, but also unfamiliar. Her eyes flicked to the bag in my hand, then back to my face. "Alex," she said, voice high-pitched like she was forcing enthusiasm. "What are you doing here?" I blinked. "Poker night got canceled. Thought I'd surprise you with dinner." She hesitated just for a second, before stepping aside and letting me in. "That's sweet," she said. But her eyes were doing that thing where they moved too much, avoiding mine. "I figured we could hang out," I said, heading toward the kitchen. "Haven't really had a proper night together in a while." She followed behind slowly. "Actually, I can't tonight. I have a business dinner." I stopped mid-step. "At this hour?" "Yeah, it's with a potential investor. Cordis Capital. Big deal for the studio. The CEO's flying in just for tonight." She walked past me and grabbed her coat off the chair like she was trying to stay in motion. "It's kind of last minute, but really important." I raised an eyebrow. "Weird. You didn't mention it." "It came together quick," she said, not looking at me. "Tiff booked it yesterday. It's not a big deal." I didn't say anything right away, just slowly placed the takeout bag on the counter. Then I pulled out my phone, opened my photo gallery, found the image I'd taken 2 nights ago when I passed by her laptop on the dining table while she was in the shower. I turned the phone toward her. She froze. The photo showed an event in her calendar, one I found under recently deleted, which I only checked because I was searching for the name of her hotel in Tucson last week. The title read, "One Night with CEO equals investment sealed kiss mark." It was scheduled for tonight at 8:30 p.m. She didn't say anything for a full 5 seconds. Then she laughed. Too loud. Too fast. "Oh my God. You seriously took a photo of that?" I didn't respond. She crossed her arms, suddenly defensive. "It was a joke. Just something dumb from a brainstorming session. Tiff put it in there as a gag and I deleted it. It doesn't mean anything." "Doesn't mean anything?" I repeated flatly. "Seriously, Alex, you're being paranoid. You always twist things into something they're not." Her voice was getting sharper now. "This is what I mean when I say you don't trust me. It's controlling." That word. Controlling. Like I was the problem here. I took a breath. My heart was pounding, but I kept my voice level. "I didn't break into anything. It was just there on your screen." "Still," she snapped. "You were snooping. Who does that? That's not normal." "You deleted it," I said quietly. "So I guess I wasn't supposed to see it. Because I knew you'd freak out like this." "I didn't freak out," I said. "I brought dinner." She turned away, adjusting her earrings in the hallway mirror. "Look, I don't have time for this right now. We can talk later. Okay?" I stood there, watching her fumble with her purse like she couldn't leave fast enough. My stomach was in knots, but my face stayed neutral. She looked amazing, stunning even, but the dress, the makeup, the panicked energy, it all told me everything I needed to know. This wasn't a business dinner. It was a date, and she didn't want me anywhere near it. Still, I didn't shout. I didn't accuse. I just grabbed the bag of food and handed it to her. Pad Thai, extra lime. She took it reflexively, then frowned. Alex. But I was already walking toward the door. Have a good dinner, I said. I didn't slam the door when I left. I just closed it behind me like I'd done 100 times before. The only difference was, this time I knew I wasn't coming back. In the car, I sat in silence for a few minutes. No music, no calls. Just the quiet thrum of the engine as I stared out at her house, the place we used to talk about making a home together. I remembered how proud she was the first time she showed it to me, how she walked me through every room like it was already ours, how she said things like, "I see us here," you know, like it meant something. I looked up and saw her silhouette in the upstairs window. The bedroom light was still on. Maybe she was fixing her makeup, or maybe she was just waiting for him to arrive. Either way, I wasn't part of the story anymore. And somewhere in my chest, that truth settled like a stone. Cold, final, but strangely clarifying. I didn't need more answers. I already knew. It's a weird feeling when your past starts to replay itself. Not like a memory, but like a warning you missed the first time. After I left Lauren's house that night, I drove aimlessly. Gas station to parking lot, side streets to the old trail by the lake we used to hike on Sundays. My hands stayed tight on the wheel the entire time. I couldn't stop thinking about that damn calendar event. The lipstick emoji, the way she laughed when I showed it to her, like I was the crazy one. But the truth? That wasn't the first moment something felt wrong. It was just the first time I stopped lying to myself. The signs were always there, scattered over months, maybe longer, but I had labeled them all coincidence, stress. She's just busy. Easy, digestible lies to make myself feel like everything was still solid between us. And in some backwards way, I was afraid of what it would mean if I did push. So I didn't. I let her behavior slide. I chose not to look too closely. One of the earliest moments that should have hit me harder was the Tucson trip. She told me she was going for a creative entrepreneur seminar. 3 days. Just her and some colleagues from the craft studio she'd been launching. Sounded legit. She even showed me the Eventbrite page. But then I noticed something weird the night before she left. A set of new lingerie still in the shopping bag on the bed. Tags attached. I asked if it was part of the product line she was researching, and she laughed and said, "God no, that's for me," trying to feel more confident. And that was that. Except the pieces weren't something she'd ever worn for me. When I mentioned that I'd love to tag along, make it a working weekend, hang out while she was in sessions, her whole mood shifted. She said it was probably not a good idea, and that having me there would ruin the vibe. Ruin the vibe. That phrase stuck in my chest for days afterward. Another time, maybe a month later, I came by after work, unannounced. Nothing out of the ordinary. I'd done it 100 times. But that night, she looked startled when I opened the door. She was on the couch with her laptop, legs curled under her, a glass of wine half finished. The second she saw me, she slammed the laptop shut. I asked if I was interrupting something, and she just said, "Nope, just emails. You scared me, that's all." Weird thing was, the house smelled like cologne, not mine, and there were 2 glasses in the sink. I asked about it. She said she'd had her assistant over. Said they were going over invoices. It didn't add up. Her assistant's a 22-year-old woman named Kendra who's allergic to wine. But I let it go. Told myself I was being paranoid. Maybe I wanted to be paranoid, because being paranoid meant I cared. It meant I still believed there was something to save. More and more things started shifting after that. She started locking her phone. Not just the usual lock screen. Full biometric lock, Face ID, no previews on texts. Said it was for privacy, because she had high net worth clients now and couldn't risk exposure. Then there were the solo trips, business retreats, wellness weekends, networking events, always in boutique hotels. never the chain ones. I'd ask if I could come along, and every time she'd brush it off. It's not fun, babe. I'm literally sitting in workshops all day. Except every time she got back, she'd have a golden tan, new clothes, and a different excuse for why she didn't bring anything back from the conference. Once she even said, it was more about energy than learning. Energy. Sure. She also stopped posting us. That one stung more than I thought it would. For the first couple years we were together, Lauren would tag me in everything. Vacations, random coffee shop selfies, even mundane things like us grocery shopping. But slowly, I started vanishing from her feed. No more date night red heart captions. No more couple photos. She said it was because she was trying to make her page more aesthetic and brand-focused. Funny how the brand no longer included me. Then there were the late-night calls. She'd step outside for them no matter the weather. Even in December, she'd stand barefoot on the porch, whispering into her AirPods. When I asked who it was, she always said it was her mentor or a supplier on the East Coast. Said I wouldn't understand the business jargon. Once I got up in the middle of the night to grab water and saw her pacing in the living room, still on the phone. She didn't hear me at first, so I listened for a few seconds. She was laughing softly and said, I just want to make sure you're happy. That's all. The moment she saw me, her face dropped. She ended the call instantly. Who was that? I asked. She stared at me like I'd slapped her. Are you seriously eavesdropping now? You were in our living room at 1:40 in the morning. I was closing a deal. I wanted to believe her. God, I wanted to believe her. But the truth is, my gut knew. It always did. I just didn't want it to be right. I let so much slide. I excused it all as her being busy or needing space. And every time I brought something up, she found a way to turn it back on me. Like when I asked why she changed her phone passcode, she said, why do you care? Do you not trust me? Or when I got quiet about her sudden expensive taste, the $1,000 coats, the designer handbags, she'd smile and say, you always said you wanted me to succeed. Isn't this what success looks like? It was manipulative, subtle, but it worked. I stopped questioning her. I let her take control of the narrative because it was easier than facing the truth. That the woman I loved, the woman I thought I knew, was drifting further and further into a version of herself I didn't recognize. And it wasn't just the big things. It was the little ones. The coldness when we hugged. The way she'd turn her cheek when I tried to kiss her. The sarcastic tone whenever I mentioned the future. Marriage, kids, buying property together. Oh, you still believe in fairy tales, she once said, laughing. That's kind of cute. Even her language shifted. She started talking like she was already out the door. When I get my own place, if I ever remarry, I'm not built for long-term anything. At first, I thought she was just being cynical, maybe guarded. But no, it was groundwork. She was laying the path for her exit. I just hadn't realized it yet. The truth is, I'd spent the last 6 months of our relationship pretending not to see what was right in front of me. I'd clung to the version of Lauren I fell in love with, the woman who used to light up when I walked into the room, who used to grab my hand at stoplights just because. But she wasn't that person anymore. Or maybe she never was. Maybe I'd fallen for an idea, and the real Lauren had been slowly revealing herself all along. And when I think about it now, all of it, it hurts. Not just because of the betrayal, but because I feel complicit in my own downfall. I let it happen. I made it easy for her to lie. I chose comfort over confrontation, silence over suspicion. But not anymore. The night I saw that calendar event, one night with CEO equals investment sealed kiss mark, was the night everything clicked. The moment I stopped lying to myself. The moment I realized I wasn't crazy. I was just finally seeing things clearly. You ever have that feeling where the floor doesn't just fall out from under you? It vanishes entirely? That's what it felt like the moment I opened the message from my son. Noah is my kid from a previous marriage. He's 20 now, in college, smart, low drama, and the kind of guy who usually texts me once every couple of weeks with memes or questions about car insurance. Our relationship isn't perfect. His mom and I split when he was little, but we've built something real over the years. He spends breaks at my place, helps me with house projects, and every now and then we'll catch a game together. So when I saw his name pop up at 11:08 p.m. on a Saturday night, I wasn't expecting anything serious. I figured he wanted to vent about finals or ask for gas money. Instead, I saw 5 words that made my blood run cold. Is that Lauren with him? There was a video attached. I was parked in the driveway at the time, engine still running. I hadn't even gone inside yet. Just sat there staring at the screen while the seconds ticked by. I opened the video. It was grainy, clearly sh*T from a phone, but I recognized the hotel instantly. The Grand Vita in downtown Dallas. Lauren had told me she was there for a panel. Said she was presenting on behalf of her studio. Said it was a huge networking opportunity with big donors. And that she'd be too slammed to talk much. The footage showed her in the main lobby around 10:40 p.m. She was wearing the same forest green dress from the business dinner with the CEO night. The same one she tried to brush off as just a joke in her calendar. But this time it wasn't just the outfit. It was the man beside her. He was tall, clean-shaven, probably in his early 50s. Tailored charcoal gray suit. No tie. Crisp shirt slightly unbuttoned. He looked like someone who knew exactly how much power he carried and how to wield it. His hand was casually resting on Lauren's lower back. Not in a businesslike way, but in the kind of way you'd only touch someone you were in * mately comfortable with. They were laughing. She leaned in close enough for her lips to graze his cheek. Then, clear as day, she said, "It's just one night with the CEO." And they stepped into the elevator together. The doors closed. That was it. 46 seconds. No dramatic music. No sharp zoom. Just a shaky clip of my girlfriend walking into a hotel elevator with another man while my son filmed from across the lobby. I stared at the screen for a long time. My hands were shaking. Played it again. Not because I needed to see more, but because my brain couldn't believe what my eyes already knew. She said it, word for word. One night with the CEO. The same phrase from her deleted calendar. The same joke she mocked me for taking too seriously. But it wasn't a joke. It never was. I called Noah immediately. He answered on the first ring. "Hey, Dad, listen, I wasn't trying to. Where are you right now?" "Still at the hotel. We were grabbing food after the Mavs game. I saw her walk by, and I thought maybe I was imagining things. But it was her, right?" "Yeah," I said, my voice hoarse. "It's her." He exhaled sharply. I wasn't sure if I should send it. I didn't want to make things worse. "Noah," I said, cutting him off gently. "You did the right thing." "Okay. Thank you." There was a pause. Then he said, "You gonna be all right?" I didn't answer right away. "I will be," I said finally. "Just need some air." We hung up. I didn't go inside that night. I drove. Miles and miles. No music. No calls. Just the occasional sound of my own breath shaking in my chest like a broken engine. My mind replayed every detail, the calendar entry, the Tucson trip, the late-night phone calls, the cologne on the couch. It was like a dam had cracked wide open, and now all the pieces were flooding in. But nothing hit harder than the fact that it was Noah who showed me the truth. Not a private investigator. Not some anonymous tip. My own son. And what **** me is that he shouldn't have had to carry that. He shouldn't have been the one to record his dad's girlfriend stepping into an elevator with another man. He shouldn't have had to question whether to send it, whether I'd believe him, whether I'd hate him for it. But he did it anyway. He did it because he knew. He saw what I was too afraid to admit. And because of him, I couldn't deny it anymore. When I finally got home, the sun was starting to rise. That bleached gray-blue light filtered through the trees as I pulled into the driveway. Lauren's car wasn't there. I didn't expect it to be. She said she'd be networking all night and staying at the hotel for convenience. Right? I walked inside and collapsed onto the couch. And then, for the first time in this whole unraveling mess, I let myself break. No theatrics. No shouting. Just quiet, ugly crying into the silence of the living room we once talked about remodeling together. A home she used to say felt like the beginning of something real. I cried until my chest hurt, until I couldn't breathe, until I wasn't even sure what part of me was grieving, the betrayal, the humiliation, or the realization that I had loved someone who saw me as nothing more than a backup plan. Eventually, I stopped, wiped my face, took a long breath. Then I got up, went to my desk, and forwarded the video to my attorney. The subject line was simple: evidence. Proceed as discussed. When people talk about heartbreak, they usually talk about the emotional side. The crying, the yelling, the chest-tightening disbelief. But what they never talk about is what happens right after. Not the pain, the pause. That eerie stillness where the brain stops screaming and starts working. That's what hit me after I sent the video to my attorney. I didn't feel broken anymore. I felt awake. Not angry. Not vengeful. Just clear. I took a long shower that morning, water turned up hot enough to sting. I didn't cry again. I didn't scream. I just stood there, watching the steam wrap around me like armor. By the time I got out, I had already made my first call. Jennifer, my attorney, but more than that, a longtime family friend. She knew me back when I was still dealing with the fallout of my first divorce. She helped me get full custody of Noah when his mother bailed for Colorado. She's tough, sharp, and allergic to nonsense. When I called, she answered on the second ring. "Morning," she said. "I saw the video. You okay?" "Not really," I said. "But I will be." "Good," she said. "Because I've already started the paperwork. I didn't even have to ask. That's Jennifer for you." Over the next 48 hours, we put everything into motion. And I mean everything. The Tucson house, the one Lauren had been staying at more and more, was still under my name. I'd bought it 2 years ago as a joint investment. Something she could use for her studio, with the understanding that we'd live there full-time once we got married. Except that paperwork never got finalized. Convenient now. Jennifer moved quickly. She filed the necessary forms to place the property into a protective trust. One Lauren had no legal access to. The deed was secured. Any future sale or use required my signature. Then came the bank accounts. We had a shared account set up for business purposes, mostly for Lauren's craft studio. I'd seeded it with $60,000 over the past year. Something I thought of as a gift, or maybe just support. I believed in her vision. I wanted her to have a sh*T at building something of her own. What I didn't realize is that she saw that account as a slush fund. Jennifer advised me to freeze it. We filed a motion to reclassify the $60,000 as a documented loan, with interest. Everything was backed up. Bank records, email threads, even texts where she called it our launch money. That phrasing alone gave us leverage. I also had Jennifer remove Lauren's name from everything she had access to: emergency contacts, credit cards, billing addresses, insurance lines. Within 2 days, she didn't have a single thread tied to me that she could pull for money, housing, or benefits. No warnings, no fights, just silence. She texted once that Monday morning, "Hey, do you still have the login for the Square account? Can't get in." I didn't respond. 5 hours later, she sent another, "Hey babe, weird question. Did something happen with the joint bank card? Mine's not working." Again, I said nothing. By Tuesday, she was calling. I let it go to voicemail. She left a message. Sounded calm at first, casual, even, "Hey, just wanted to see if you're okay. Haven't heard from you. If you're upset about something, we can talk about it. Maybe over dinner? Let me know." That was it. No mention of Dallas. No mention of the elevator. No mention of the green dress or the CEO with his hand on her hip. And that silence, that refusal to even acknowledge what she knew I knew, that's what told me everything. This wasn't guilt. It was damage control. But here's the thing. I wasn't playing that game. This wasn't about revenge. I didn't want to blow up her life. I didn't want to embarrass her online or burn her car or call up everyone she knew with **TS. That kind of chaos would only drag me down with her. I just wanted distance, closure, proof that I could protect myself not just legally but personally. Because somewhere along the way, I had become the kind of man who ignored red flags, who made excuses for manipulation, who let love become a leash. I wasn't going to be that man anymore. So I made a list. Not a dramatic revenge checklist. Just a clear, itemized plan to untangle our lives and cut the rope clean. Phone plan, removed her from the shared line. Car insurance, took her vehicle off the policy. Emergency contacts, removed her from all medical and legal docs. Passwords, changed them all: banking, utilities, security, Wi-Fi. Shared documents, revoked access to the Google Drive we used for business receipts and tax files. House key, changed the locks in Tucson and the storage unit we'd rented last year. By the time she called again Thursday morning, she sounded less calm. Alex, seriously, what is going on? I'm locked out of everything. Are you mad at me? Did I do something? Still no mention of Dallas. Still no honesty. Just deflection. I didn't answer. That afternoon, I met with Jennifer again in person. We sat in her office, papers spread across the table, as she walked me through the timeline we were building. Legally, we had her cornered. No marriage meant no spousal rights. The house wasn't hers. The money wasn't a gift. The business accounts were funded solely by me. You sure you want to proceed this way? Jennifer asked. I nodded. I don't want to bury her. I just want her out of my life. Jennifer gave me a look, the kind only someone who's known you for years can give. It was part empathy, part pride. You've come a long way, Alex. I smiled. Not far enough yet. That night, I slept better than I had in months. It wasn't peace exactly, more like clarity. My phone was on silent. No notifications. No pit in my stomach every time it buzzed. I was rebuilding, quietly, on my terms. The next day, I got a text from Lauren that actually made me laugh out loud. It said, "So I guess you're ghosting me now?" Real mature, Alex. No apology. No confession. Just projection. She wasn't sorry. She was mad she got caught. I blocked her number. And for the first time since this all started, I didn't feel like I owed her an explanation. Because when someone shows you who they are, and then mocks you for seeing it, you don't owe them a conversation. You owe yourself an exit. And that's exactly what I gave myself. You'd think the hardest part would be the discovery, that gut punch moment when everything falls apart. But it's not. The hardest part is what happens after, when people start telling you things they'd been holding back. The morning Lauren's dad showed up at my door, I wasn't expecting anyone. I was sitting on the porch, sipping lukewarm coffee, still adjusting to the quiet, the kind of quiet that comes after you cut off the last thread connecting you to a life you thought you wanted. His truck pulled into the driveway just after 9 a.m. Beat-up Ford. Same one he's had since 2005. I hadn't seen Randall in months. "Alex," he replied with a nod. "Can we talk?" I stepped aside and gestured toward the porch chairs. "Coffee?" He shook his head. "No thanks. I won't be long." He sat down, pulled out a thick yellow envelope from his jacket, and placed it on the table between us like it was about to start a war. "I didn't know where else to take this," he said. I waited. He tapped the envelope. "It's about Lauren." Of course it was. "I know what she did to you," he continued. "Saw the hotel footage. She hasn't said a damn word to me about it. But I figured that's your business, not mine." I stayed quiet. "She came to me a few months back," he went on. "Told me she needed help with funding her expansion. Said you were tied up, and she didn't want to stress you out. Told me she just needed a short-term loan. Said she had investors lined up, just needed to bridge a gap before a big launch." I frowned. "She never mentioned that to me." "I figured," he said. "What kind of loan?" He pulled out the paperwork. It was all there. Promissory note, property leverage form, a signature his on a document that used his house as collateral. $42,000. That's what she borrowed. Allegedly to expand the craft studio. Said she needed to hire staff, order equipment, set up a storefront in Tucson. Except, there is no storefront, he said, voice tight. And there's no staff. She hasn't paid a dime back. When I asked about it last week, she got defensive. Told me I didn't understand how modern entrepreneurship worked. I felt a mix of pity and rage rise in my chest. "Did you ask her for receipts? Anything?" He nodded slowly. She said she'd show me her books. Then went dark. I exhaled. You're not the only one. He looked down at his hands. I didn't want to believe it. She's my daughter. I thought maybe you two were just going through something. But when I saw the hotel footage, God help me, Alex, I knew it wasn't just you she lied to. I leaned forward. When did she take the loan? He flipped through the forms. March. 3 months ago. And when was her retreat to Mexico? He glanced up, eyes sharp now. Same weekend. Why? I pulled out my phone and opened the bank document Jennifer had sent me. I'd been tracking Lauren's withdrawals ever since we froze the shared account. 3 days in late March, she withdrew $10,000 in cash each day. $30,000 gone. No explanation. She used your loan to take someone to Mexico, I said. Not me. I was out of town that week. I remember. Randall went pale. Who? He asked, voice low. Still figuring that out, I said. But it wasn't some investor. He leaned back in the chair like the air had been knocked out of him. For a moment, neither of us said anything. Birds chirped. Car passed. Normal sounds in a moment that didn't feel normal at all. Finally, I spoke. What do you want to do? I want my money back, he said. And I want the truth. All of it. We agreed to work together, file a civil complaint if needed. Jennifer would help. Randall gave me full access to the documentation. We both knew it wouldn't be easy, but if Lauren thought she could play us against each other, she was about to learn something new. That night, I kept digging. Jennifer had connected me with a financial forensics guy, someone who specializes in tracing where disappeared money ends up. We started building a paper trail. Every withdrawal, every purchase, every transfer. And then we hit something. A transaction flagged from March 23rd. A $7,800 purchase at Dalton's Custom Motors, just outside of Tucson. It didn't make sense. Lauren doesn't drive. Not motorcycles, anyway. But one quick search later, I had a name. Vic Dalton. Owner. Former MC member. Known associate in 2 prior fraud investigations, both dropped for lack of evidence. And just like that, a whole new picture came into focus. Vic wasn't the CEO from the hotel. He was someone else entirely. Con man. An opportunist. And, apparently, Lauren's real partner in the Mexico trip. The next day, I got my hands on a photo, pulled from public records, then confirmed through Vic's Instagram, where, 2 weeks after the trip, he posted a story showing a beachside view with the caption, Boss Girl made it rain palm tree money bag. And right there, in the reflection on his sunglasses, was Lauren. Same hair, same tattoo on her collarbone. Laughing, champagne in hand. I saved the image. I sent it to Jennifer. Then I sent it to Randall. The fallout was instant. Randall cut contact with Lauren that night. The next morning, she showed up at his place, crying apparently. Said it was a misunderstanding. Said the money got tied up in a cross-border wire issue, and she was working on getting it back. He didn't buy a word of it. He told her to leave. Told her he'd be pressing charges if she didn't return the loan within 30 days. I got a text from her later that night. The first one in over a week. I know you've been talking to my dad. Whatever you think happened, you're wrong. I didn't do anything illegal. No denial about the trip. No denial about Vic. Just legal-sounding phrases she probably picked up from some forum on how to cover your tracks. I didn't respond. Jennifer filed the motion the next morning. We now had a paper trail, witness testimony, and confirmed images. What started as a breakup was turning into a full-blown fraud case. And this time, she couldn't spin it as a relationship miscommunication. This wasn't about heartbreak anymore. It was about truth, and accountability, and watching a mask fall off completely. The fallout came fast. When hotel security footage leaked online, Lauren and the CEO stepping into the elevator, her world collapsed. Her craft brand pulled her contract, pending investigation. Investors vanished overnight. The final blow? My attorney filed charges. Attempted fraud, misuse of funds, and conspiracy to sell property she didn't own. Randall testified. The courtroom was cold, but her silence colder. She called it a miscommunication. The judge didn't buy it. She was ordered to repay every cent with interest. Her polished image? Gone. Her social media empire? Silent. People stopped calling her Mrs. Boss and started calling her what she really was. A liar who believed no one would ever hold her accountable. But we did. Quietly. Legally. All of it by the book. And she never saw it coming. Almost a year later, the dust has settled. Noah lives with me now. Lauren's daughter, Ellie, visits every other weekend. We built a canoe together last fall, messy, crooked, perfect. I helped with her science fair project, too. There's a softness to life now, a rhythm that doesn't feel strained. I see Jennifer more often. We drink coffee on the porch, talk about the weather, nothing heavy. It's peaceful. Lauren works retail now, in the same corporate plaza where they once printed her face on posters. I passed her once. She looked down. No words. No drama. Just silence. I didn't feel angry. I didn't feel anything. And that's the victory. I live simply. No lies. No second-guessing. Just the kind of life built around people who show up, not the ones who disappear behind just one night.